Alright, welcome to Chaka Context. Now in this tutorial I'll be putting us through a question on project management. Right, project on network diagram in project management, and like we've always been doing, I'll be referring this to the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors test for professional competence examination. And this is the question here, and this is what we'll have here quickly. NIQS test for professional competence September 2022 TPC examination. All right, this is the question here quickly. Is using the information in the table below. 1, draw a network diagram. Number 2, find the mean and variance each of the optimistic time, the most likely time, and the pessimistic time. All right, so this is the question here. We have activities duration estimated. This is the table for mean and variance as the case may. This is activity 1 to 2, activity 1 to 3, 2 to 4, and in that order. And these are their expected duration, the estimated duration. All right, now let's quickly come to where we have this. Now whenever you have a question and it has 3 different times, the optimistic, the most likely, and the pessimistic, you have a question on PERT diagram. It is called PERT, project evaluation. Okay, I have it here, project evaluation and review technique. Right, there are basically 2 types. We have the CPM, critical path method. Now PERT is based on a probabilistic approach, right, uncertainty. That's why you have 3 different estimated time. While the critical path method is based on a deterministic approach, it has only 1 time. Right, don't worry, I will make videos on that, tutorials on that also. All right, so let's focus on what we have here. It is PERT, project evaluation and review technique. When you see, it has 3 different estimated times, and of course, for us to draw a network diagram, we can't use 3 different estimated time. We need just 1 time. And of course, you can see this network diagram here. All right, we need just 1 time, like I said, that's why they gave us here the mean. That's the mean or the expected time duration for each of the activity. And there is a formula, because we have 3 different. There is a formula for calculating the expected time or the mean time for each activity. All right, and it is the optimistic plus the most likely, 4 times the most likely plus the pessimistic divided by 6. Now this is what we have here. A, which is the optimistic, plus 4m plus b, which is the pessimistic, divided by 6. The optimistic time is the minimum time, right, minimum estimated time to execute a particular activity, while m is the most likely time estimated for the activity to complete it, while the b or p is the pessimistic, the maximum time to complete or execute that particular activity. All right, so a plus 4m plus b divided by 6 is the formula for calculating the mean time or the expected time duration for each activity. This dates back to 1950, right, with the US Navy. They used it that time, and since then it has become a method for estimating project uncertainty, duration for projects with uncertain characteristics. All right, so you can Google it, you can make your research on it from the internet. All right, so for activity 1 to 2, it is 6 plus, because we have 6, 9, 15. So 6 plus 4 times 9 plus 15 divided by 6, so we have 10. I have an example here. A plus 4m divided by 6 plus b divided by 6. So you can see O, you can see B, right? Sorry, A and B. A and O is optimistic time, M is most likely time, B or P is pessimistic time. All right, so A plus 4m is what I have here. A is 6, or O time 4 times 9 plus the pessimistic time 15, everything divided by 6, 57 divided by 6. All right, 57 divided by 6, I have 9.5. That is how we have 10. here, and that is how we calculate for each activity also. You see activity 1 to 3, 2 plus 4 times 4 plus 8 divided by 6, we have 4. So do the calculation. If you have any challenge, please drop them in the comment section, because we won't have all the time to start doing them one after the other. This is how you do them. You take it to the nearest whole number. All right. Now, having known the mean duration, that is the expected time duration for each of the activity, we can now draw the network diagram. All right. So this is the network diagram here. I will explain it in simple and clear terms. Here, activity 1 to 2. It means activity 2 is dependent on activity 1, or we must execute activity 1 before activity 2. The same thing here. Activity 1 must be executed before 3. That is, 3 is dependent on 1. Now you see, both of them has 1 1 as their predecessor. Pre means it comes before. Kajiko. These two here, 2 and 3, are successor activities. That is, they come after 1. Successor. Is it pre and successor? Okay, pre and successor. Alright, let's go. Alright, now see how it plays out here. This is activity 1, right? Activity 2 is dependent on 1. You see the arrow going from 1 to 2. The arrow going from 1 to 3. 3 is dependent on 1. Right? The same thing goes for the others. Now see the duration here, 10 and 4. 10 and 4. Okay, now the next one is activity 2 and 2 to 4. That means activity 4 is dependent on activity 2. Activity 5 here is dependent on activity 3. 4 is on 2. That means 2 must be executed before 4. 3 must be executed before 5. Now let's see how it plays out here in our network diagram. Alright, activity 4 depends on activity 2. Activity 5 depends on activity 3. Now you see the arrow from 3 to 5, the arrow from 2 to 4. They both have 8 and 7 as their mean time duration respectively. Alright, so we go to the next activity, which is activity 4 to 9. Am I right? Yes, 4 to 9 and 5 to 6. So it means activity 9 is dependent on 4. Activity 6 is dependent on activity 5. Alright, so this is what we'll have here. There's something I want to explain there, but let me quickly do this. Activity 9 is dependent on 4. You should see the arrow here from 4 to 9. Alright, now let's go. Now if you look at these two also, activity 6, activity 5 to 6 and 5 to 7. 6 is dependent on 5. Activity 7 is also dependent on activity 5. Right, so both 6 and 7 has 5 as their predecessor, so they have to come out from 5. Now, let's see what I mean by that. This is 6 is dependent on 5. 7 is dependent on 5. The same way it happened here. 2 was depending on 1. 3 was depending on 1. Kajiko. Alright. Okay, so this the same thing here. 6 depending on 5 and 7 is depending on 5. Alright, let's go. Now we have activity 6 to 8 and 7 to 8. That is another different arrangement. Activity 8 is depending on 6. The same activity 8 is depending on 7. What does it mean? 8, one successor activity is depending on 2 predecessor activity. Unlike what we have here. Here, one predecessor has 2 successors. That is 2 successors depending on 1 predecessor. Here, one successor is depending on 2 predecessors. It's just grammar, right? It's just grammar. You do this one before this one and do this one before this one. All right. So that's what it means. Okay, now see, activity 8 is depending on 6. Activity 7 is 8 is depending on 7. It simply means that I must complete activity 6 and 7 before I can start activity 8. Alright. Alright, okay. So this question didn't tell us to run a forward or backward pass. Alright, another didn't tell us to calculate the critical path. Alright, but I think in another video I will show us how we calculate the critical path, and if need be when we want to run forward or backward path. I think that is in critical path method. However the case, in our next video we are going to see it. Alright, now let's go to the next one, because the question just said we should draw the network diagram. The next one is which activity? 8 to 10, then 9 to 10. Now you see, activity 10 is dependent on both 8 and 9. Now let's see how it plays out. Activity 10 is dependent on 9. Activity 10 is dependent on 4. Please, these are the durations here in red, right? These are the duration, their mean duration as calculated. You can also calculate yours too. If you have any challenge, please drop them in the comment section. We'll treat them together. So activity 10 is dependent on 9. Activity 10 dependent on 8. If you put it in English, it means that activity 10, being a successor activity, is dependent on 2 predecessor activities. In another language, it means that you must do activity 9 and 8 before you can do activity 10. Kubankabani. Alright, now the next item here, activity is activity 10 to 11. Means activity 11 is depending on activity 10. Activity 11 depending on activity 10, and the duration is 3. So this is how you draw the network diagram, right? Given a PERT question, a question on a project evaluation and review technique. It is that simple. What's the score? 25 marks for this simple thing here. So the same thing, even in our varying careers, academics too. All right, it is project evaluation and review technique. This is how you draw your network diagram, right? That's project scheduling. All right. So to calculate the variance, which is the next question, of course, mean and variance, right? Now the variance has a formula also, right? Variance is the pessimistic time minus the optimistic time divided by 6 square. All right, the pessimistic divided by minus the optimistic divided by 6, everything squared. Now this is what I did here. Now let's see this example. Here in activity 1, the pessimistic time is 15, the optimistic time is 6. So 15 minus 6 divided by 6 squared is what I have here. 15 minus 6 divided by 6, then squared. It gives me 1.5. This is 1.5 times 1.5, which is squared, gives me 2.25. The same thing is applicable to other activities. You can do them on your own. Using this formula, you will get the variance. That is basically what this question is all about. With this, you got your 25 marks. Beyond that, your professional career, right, is covered when it comes to project evaluation and review technique. In the next tutorial, so that this video doesn't become too long, I will be showing us how we calculate the critical path, and also when we get over to the critical path method, we'll also see properly how we run the forward and backward paths. All right, this is Chaka Quantics. I hope this adds value to you academically and in your professional career. If you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do all to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, and share our videos. Expect more videos from the desk of Chaka Quantics. Once again, it is Chaka Quantics. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.